doing a great job.
And it's amazing that you pointed out to that, because we know that that route, Mogadishu, Entebbe, yes, there's that, and also it's very, very advantageous and
in light
profitable.
of the 2010 Kampala twin bombings, we cannot give room to any mistakes, and we've only resumed for a week.
Yes.
So we need to really be careful, and that's why we've fronted this question.
Yes. Well, it's one of those places where there's such high security detail. If you're in Mogadishu, because there's a distance, a radius of kilometers that are being handled and controlled by the AMISOM, but especially the UPDF, the airport itself is under the security detail of UPDF. Before you approach the airport, you go through over 8 security points. In the airport itself, from every point you move, it's like about 4 of them.
Right.
So the detail is very specific.
Okay.
Very specific. And they have dogs, and these dogs are also, they also do the baggage checks as well. So it's very, very intense.
All right.
Yeah.
In spite of that, also that route is very, profitable for the airline, and it's taking up quite well. What are some of these factors that are making us see some positives in that route?
Well, one thing is that usually when a country is coming out of a situation of sorts, you'll have a lot of NGOs in this country. So there's a lot of UN presence in Mogadishu. And as a people, the Somali are travelers. As a people, and so they are people who embrace air travel, and they wake up very early in the morning and they're moving, just going somewhere. So and there's a lot of trade between the two countries because of the situation they've been in. A lot of produce comes into the country, so there's a lot of trade between Uganda and Somalia, as well as the other countries around it. And by the way, we're not the only international airline flying there.
Over
there's
50,
Turkish.
yes, over 50 airlines.
Yeah, there's
there.
Turkish, there's Qatar, there's...
How are you able to capture that highly competitive space if you're having over 50 airlines?
They don't come to Uganda direct. We're the only airline that fly direct, Mogadishu, Entebbe, Mogadishu. And there's a lot of partnership between the two countries in terms of education and health, in terms of trade. So a lot of them come back and forth. There's a huge community of them in some parts of Kampala.
Right.
So they go back and forth. And schools, a lot of them come here for school, education, university. So yeah, there's a lot of movement.
So I understand you are heading into a peak season for flights, and some of your competitors have been struggling. That is not news. So what are you doing to stay ahead?
I'll say this. It's very important that we keep our schedule integrity. If we say we're leaving at a certain time, we must leave at a certain time. Yeah. If we delay, there's always a reason why. We must manage the expectations of the passenger in terms of informing them that, the flight is delayed for this long, this is what is going to happen, and we are planning ABC. So that information flow is very important to keep the client, the passenger, aware of the process of his journey. We also have affordable fares, that we have promotional fares. But I've also realized that a lot of people, it's not about the fare, it's more of how your service is.
Correct.
Both on ground and on board. If you watch that, people will talk. Those with social media, they'll talk about it, they'll have a meal on it. So it's important that we keep our service up, excellent, and schedule integrity.
Speaking of service, I'm an expert in service, and I'd ask you this, what's your strategy like? Because we know that it's normal, it's human nature for people to just get to that comfortable space and say that, hey, when we're starting, we're all, fired up to give nothing but excellence to our, clientele.
Yeah.
So what's your strategy like to ensure that your team upholds the same level of excellence 10 years, 20 years, 50 years down the line?
I think training is important, and that is one of the pillars that we have. Our teams undergoing training. We have to undergo refreshers. We have that planned. Unfortunately for us, fortunately, it's mandatory to have certain training passed through. The crew, the staff on ground must have particular training. Apart from the operational, they have to have the soft skills. So 10 years down the road, we must continue to have this service going through with our trainings. Also, as a country, we are known for hospitality. Someone the other day joked and said, no, Ugandans love serving others, not fellow Ugandans. And I'm saying, for us, it's not most of us who are in the airline, it's not the first time we're in this industry. And one of the things that in our past experience...
Because the airport has been operational.
Yes, but not just
But not the airlines.
No. A lot of people worked for Air Uganda. People have been working for KQ. A lot of the other partners.
There's been activity.
So there's activity. A lot of people have undergone this training. So they come on board knowing what has to be done and knowing what are the critical areas and the critical points is how you treat people. Behavior breeds behavior.
Right.
So if I treat you nasty as a client, if I'm negative and you even get a whiff of it, you react differently. So everyone is trained to know that, of course, we'll have some who it will slip through, but we have trainings ongoing.
So thank you for demystifying that. Just because you've resumed a week now doesn't mean that you have no experience.
No.
So people are very experienced.
Yes, I've noticed that we believe as a country that we do not have the expertise.
I know, right? And
for aviation.
Outsourcing for employees.
Not necessarily. So we keep bashing. Will this work? Oh no, what do they know?
No faith in the system. That's where it starts.
Exactly. But we have to realize that we have people in this country who are Ugandans, who have been in the system of aviation and know what to do.
So talk to us about plans for the new aircraft that is coming in, I understand, at the end of this month?
Mid-October.
Mid-October. So will this aircraft also be deployed on the same
Yes. When they arrive in the country mid-October, they'll be on ground for a while. I have to get my dates right, probably a month, because there are certain things that have to be done. And then we have already the routes planned. We have the routes planned where they'll be flying. We'll expand on the routes we have. For example, like Nairobi, we're doing twice a day. We'll do 3 times a day.
All right.
Dar es Salaam, we're doing daily. But on some days, we will do double. We'll do morning and evening. Juba will increase. We'll have 3 times daily. Then we'll expand to Southern Africa. We'll do Lusaka, Harare, South Africa, Johannesburg. Then we will do DRC. Then we'll do Central African Republic.
All right.
So yeah, we have a plan of where the flights will be.
Let me ask you this, especially in this particular new routes. Congratulations that with the current routes we are picking up quite well.
Yes.
And it's amazing that we don't have, empty seats coming.
Well, Dar es Salaam, we're full. You can't get a seat
easily
this week. Yes.
Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
So, what's your strategy like to penetrate the new routes that you're planning to get into?
Like a lot of people will want to save time on their journey. So most of our scheduling is direct.
Okay.
So when you look at the Dar route, a lot of the players go via. We do direct. So that already you save time. So that's why we'll have a lot of people flying with us. And there's a lot of goodwill among the travel agents. They're excited to be selling their own, Yes. So,
well, as a country that is revamping its airlines, what are some of the lessons we've picked from this experience so far? We compare this Uganda Airlines to the past. 18 years ago, a lot wasn't happening. We didn't have automation. We didn't have systems in place. So right now we have systems, and it's systems talking to each other. Systems for reservations, systems for departing, systems on board, pilots relating with the control towers. So a lot has changed over the years. Things are being done smarter. So that's one of the lessons, that we're more automated than we were then. So systems are talking to each other, and you have people, yes, but they're being handled and managed by the system.
Okay.
So that's a lot. The customer service, that also has changed. with the years, yeah? How people relate to people. In the past, it was mechanical. Now it's on a personal, emotional. You get to know the person, even if it's for 2 minutes.
Let me ask you this. We know that whenever airlines are struggling, they always try to entice, you know, on grounds of the ratings, the ticketing, the fares.
Not necessarily.
So yes, it's happened. We know that even with KQ, whenever they know that they have X number of scheduled flights and we're getting into that, you know, turbulent season, because those seasons are there, they then try to, you know, forge strategies around the fares.
Yes.
Are you seeing yourselves getting into that, especially now that, well, you're playing in a game whereby you have that competitive advantages of having direct flights? Are you foreseeing that? You're in the commercial docket. Are you foreseeing that a period where you have to play that game of balancing out?
I'll tell you what happens. You have seasons. You have what you call, these are international seasons. You have summer season and you have the winter season. Then you have the shoulder. Shoulder is when it's in between. So when it's winter internationally, there will be few people going back and forth, more people coming out because they want to avoid the whole bad weather.
But they wait for the summer.
Yes, for so you have your fares based on the seasons. So it's not necessarily that they're doing badly now, they're pushing. No, it is seasonalities. So in December, for example, you have people going because it's a Christmas season, it's festive, everybody's happy. So there are lots of promotions, even with hotels, to bring more people into the hotels to enjoy the facilities. So it's a season thing. Yeah, that's why you will see rates coming in. Now, for example, we have promotion rates. That is to entice people, stimulate the market to try our product. So it's really a seasonal thing.
Well, finally, as we wrap up,
That's another question.
Yes, I just want to know, how long is this promotional season?
It's 2 months.
2 months.
Yes, it's a promotion for 2 months.
so after that, prices will go
Not
up.
necessarily, will still be affordable.
It will still be
affordable. I don't want to say cheap.
Speaking about affordability, I understand the ticket from Entebbe to Nairobi is $298? $278? $278.
Yes. Book early.
What about your competitors? That is cheap.
No, don't use the word cheap. It's affordable.
Cheap is a good word.
No, that's affordable.
So
our competition is probably about $50 more.
Okay.
You see, it's in buckets. You know, when you the earlier you book, then you get the 278, then you get the next fare. So it's in buckets.
Okay, finally, have you identified any challenges affecting your operations since you resumed the flight last week?
Well, the challenges will be normal. You know, normal in terms of normal in the process and the journey of the client from the time of check-in to the time of. So like on our website, we've had people saying, oh, I'm not able to use my credit card. Then you call them, then you find, oh, he missed out something. So it's the normal challenges of people trying to understand how does this website work.
Right.
I'm afraid we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you very much, Mrs. Jennifer Bamraki, for making time to come talk to us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Let's now take a very short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
The government of Uganda, in partnership with the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, the World Association of Public-Private Partnerships, and the Africa Public Partnerships Network, will host the inaugural High-Level Public-Private Partnerships Conference under the theme Public-Private Partnerships, Africa's Next Big Thing, from the 16th to 18th September 2019 at the Kampala Serena Hotel. This conference brings together African governments, lenders, equity providers, construction firms, insurance firms, facility managers, advisory firms, donors, development partners,